Right now, in this moment, you're doing something. You're watching or scrolling, you're listening, and somewhere in the back of your mind, there is a feeling you have been trying to escape all day. A dull, restless, hollow feeling. Like your brain is running but going nowhere. Like something is missing but you cannot name what it is. That feeling is boredom. And you probably think it means nothing. You probably think it is just a gap between interesting things, a waiting room emotion, something to fix with a phone or snack or a video. But the real answer is far stranger than that. Boredom is not empty. It is a signal, one of the oldest and most important signals your brain knows how to send. And for most of human history, the people who ignored it did not survive very long. To understand what boredom is actually telling you, you need to go back, way back, not the last year, not to your childhood, back to the time before cities, before language, before fire was something you could make whenever you wanted. Your ancestors lived in small groups, somewhere between 20 to 150 people. They moved constantly, following food, following water, following seasons. Every single day had a clear purpose: find food, stay warm, avoid predators, stay connected to the group. There was no ideal time, not real ideal time. Even rest had the function. When you rest, your body repaired. When he sat with others, you built trust. When you watched the horizon, you scanned for danger. Your brain evolved inside that world. It learned to expect a certain level of activity, meaning, and social connection. It learned that when those things dropped below a certain level, something was wrong. And that warning system is still inside you, running right now. It has been running your whole life. It just looks different in the world full of notifications and delivery apps and 14-hour entertainment libraries. The warning system is called boredom. Psychologist John Eastwood at University of Toronto spent years spending boredom and found something that surprised almost everyone. Boredom is not the absence of stimulation. There is actually plenty of stimulation available to the bored people. The problem is something deeper. Boredom happens when your brain cannot connect to what is in front of you in the meaningful way, when your attention cannot find something worth locking onto. Think about that for a second. You cannot be sitting in the room full of entertainment and still feel completely bored. You have felt that. You scroll through hundreds of options and feel nothing. You flip between apps and find nothing. The stimulation is there, the meaning is not. And that is exactly what your ancestors would have felt when something was wrong with their environment. When the food supply was running low, when the social group was breaking apart, when the routine of survival was disrupted, the brain sent a signal. This is not enough. Go find something better. Go fix what is broken. Boredom in your ancient brain saying you should be doing something more important than this. Now, here is what it getting interested. Researchers Santi Mann and Rebecca Cadman at the University of Central Lancashire ran an experiment in 2014. They split participants into groups. One group did something deeply boring first and copying numbers from phone book by hand. Another group went straight into a creative task. The both groups significantly outperformed the others. They were more creative, more divergent in their thinking, better at generating original ideas. Why? Because boredom forces the brain to go inward. It activates something called the default mode network. This is the brain's background processing system. The part of the daydreamers imagines, connects unrelated ideas, runs simulations of possible futures. Your ancestor used this same network. When the hunt was over and the fire was burning and there was nothing urgent to do, your brain did not shut down. It started planning. It rehearsed future scenarios. It looked for patterns in past experience. It invented. Boredom was the condition that made your ancestor creator. The moment of restless dissatisfaction were the moment when new ideas got bored. So when you feel Bored, your brain is not broken, it is switching modes. It is trying to switch from consuming to creating, from reacting to imagining, from receiving to generating. But there is a catch. For that switch to happen, you have to let the boredom breathe, and almost no one does that anymore. The moment boredom appears, you reach for the phone, you open an app, you fill the gap instantly, and the signal never gets finished its sentence. Neuroscientist Mary Helen Imardino Young at University of Southern California has spent years studying what happens in the brain during rest and inward attention. She found that the default mode network is not just a creativity, it is also where you build your sense of self, where you process emotions, where you make meaning out of your experience, where you figure out who you are and what matters to you. When you never allow boredom, you are cutting yourself off from the process. You are living entirely on the surface, constantly reacting, consuming, scrolling, never going deep. Your brain needs those inward moments, not occasionally, regularly. They are not wasted time. They are maintenance time, identify time, direction finding time. Your ancestors had that time built in. Long walks, long nights, long stretches of sameness that force the brain to turn inward and work on itself. You have almost none of it, and the closest thing available is boredom. The gap your brain creates when decides the current environment is not worth full attention. The gap is a gift, and most people spend their entire lives running away from it. Here is something worth sitting with. The things you want most in your life, the creative work you never start, the direction you cannot find, the relationships that feel shallow, the sense that you are drifting. Most of these problems are made worse by filling every empty moment with stimulation. The problem is not that you are smart enough or driven enough. The problem might be that your brain never gets quiet enough to figure out what it actually wants. Boredom is the brain asking for space, not forever, not for hours, just a few minutes where you do not immediately fill the silence. A few minutes where you sit with the restlessness instead of escaping it. Research by Timpani Wilson at University of Virginia found that most people prefer to give themselves electric shocks rather than sit alone with their thoughts for 15 minutes. Seriously, when placed in the room with nothing to do and a button that would deliver a mild shock. The majority of people chose the shock repeatedly. They preferred physical discomfort to mental stillness. This is how badly your brain has been trained to avoid boredom. But there is what happens when you stop running from it. The restless feeling peaks and then it shifts. The brain finding no external input to grab, turns inward. Thoughts start to surface, not always comfortable ones, but real ones. Questions you have been avoiding, decides you have been suppressing, ideas you have been too busy to notice. This is what your ancestor called thinking. It is what every creative breakthrough in human history came from, not from constant stimulation, from the quiet that follows it. Artists know this, writers know this, scientists know this. Every person who has made something worth making knows that the idea did not come from while they scrolling. It in the shower or a long walk in the silence after waking up, in the moment between tasks when they resisted to the urge to pick up their phone. Those boredom moments the brain took back for itself. And now you know what actually happening. The default mode network was running, the ancient signal was doing its job, your brain was saying, stop, look inward, there is something here worth finding. So next time the restlessness arrives, try something different. Do not run, do not fill it, sit with it for just 2 more minutes. That then feels comfortable. Let the signal finish. Let your brain do the thing it has been trying to do for a million years. Because boredom is not the gap between interesting things. It is the most interesting thing your brain ever tries to show you. And you have been swiping past it every single day.